Hey guys, we got a 2010 Braun Entervan, same as a Chrysler Town and Country, Dodge Caravan, Grand Caravan brakes. We got the wheel off, 19mm lug nuts to take the tire off, and then you're gonna turn your wheel all the way to the right for the passenger side, left for the driver's side. We're gonna do this side, then that side. Now when we compress the caliper, brake fluid's gonna go up, so afterwards we'll give it a good brake bleeding. So let's take our 13mm and break these free. Now you're going to notice that it spins inside there. Most of the time you can just hold it still. That slider will spin. If it won't hold still for you, put a wrench in it. It's like a 14 or a 15 mil. So let's get these off. And let's do this all in real time and break it down and show you how to do the brakes properly. If I don't show you how to do it, I'll at least tell you. Alright, let's get that caliper pressed back in. We're going to take the lip inside of the rotor and press it back. There we go. Now we can pull the caliper out a little bit, and we can even compress it some more if we want to. That caliper is going to fall right off for us. If you're doing rotors too, which you should, with new brake pads, you should always put new rotors on or resurface your rotors. But this friend of mine said, screw it, just throw some pads on this bad boy for me. And I was like, whatever, man. He's like, I know, I should do it the right way. And I'm like, whatever, I got you. We're gonna pop this old hardware out. You should always buy premium pads with new hardware. So he did. He got the premium pads with new hardware, so we can just throw those away. If you didn't get new hardware with your pads, make sure you clean up your old hardware real nice and good. There we go, hardware's out. Now if we were to change the rotors, all we have to do is take these two big bolts on the back, I believe they're 21mm, and hammer our rotor off, then you can put a new rotor on. We're not doing that today. Next thing we're gonna do is take these slides out. These actually are real nice and clean and greased. We're gonna wipe them off with a rag. And we're gonna add my favorite brand, Glide by AGS. High temperature, silicone based brake grease. We'll put a little dab right in there. And then we'll coat the pins with some new grease. Pop them back on there. Bada boom. Let's go ahead and get our caliper turned back in. You can use a caliper tool to turn these back in, or you can use big grips or a C-clamp. The important thing to remember is these calipers, these pistons in the calipers are not metal. They are a ceramic composite type thingamajigger. So if you are using a C-clamp or big jaws, make sure you cushion it with the old pad or something. Oh, this one doesn't want to turn in for us. I think I just don't have a very good grip on it. It's a weird angle. Let's go ahead and show you how to do it with a little caliper tool. What do we got for caliper tools here? We got this one, and we got that one. All right. We're going to grab one of our old pads here and put it right on the caliper. Let's see if you can see that. Let's go up with the cam. It's not working with me. My tripod's about broke, guys. There we go. Stay right there, camera. Perfect. We're going to turn our cheap $5 caliper tool. We're going to turn it in so it fits. such an awkward angle to get the jaws in there. All right, so we got our brake pad in between the caliper piston as a little cushion so that it turns in. All the pressure is evenly distributed. Whoop. And we're just gonna spin this in. And you can get this tool for like $5 at Harbor Freight. Auto parts stores sell them. Super cheap. And our caliper feels real nice and smooth going in. The reason the jaws don't work most of the time is because the piston is so big on these that you don't get an even squeeze, and it needs to go straight back in. This one's almost in. It'll kind of like give you a ton of resistance all of a sudden. The piston will be flat. Pretty much flush. With the whole caliper there. Now we're pushed all the way in. The seal looks good. We're going to take some more of that high temp grease. And we're going to put it on the face of our piston where it contacts the pads. Same thing with the claws of the piston. Keep that rust away, guys, in Michigan. You know what I'm saying? Wipe the grease off my hands. Hey, here's an important step that most people don't do in the salt belt. If you're anywhere where vehicles like to rust out like me, clean out the spots where your new hardware goes or your old hardware. Let's bring the camera back down a little. Here we go. I love my little Dremel tool. Clean these out real nice and good. Beautiful. All right, we got our new hardware here. We got 4 of them for this side. And they go on a certain way. We're gonna put a little bit of that grease right up in there. Don't get it on the rotor. I like doing brake jobs correctly with the new rotors or resurfaced rotors or whatever. So I like taking this mounting bracket off and cleaning it really nicely. But we're not gonna do that. Now this hardware goes on a certain way. The taller edge goes towards the center of the rotor, and the little spring lip goes on the outside. So we put the spring side in first, and then we push in and press down, and it should snap right in. And this one doesn't want to do it for me. That's cool. Make me look stupid, dude. Let's try this top side. Why are you making me look stupid? My hands might be a little too greasy. Dude, get up in there. Let's get a little assistance from a flat head. Yeah, they're just not snapping in there. That's why I like doing this with the mounting bracket off. It's just easier to see what you're doing. Get up in there, dude. There we go. We got our first one in. Let's go. Next one. That one just, I don't know if it's bent or what. Sometimes these do come a little funny. All right, this one goes up in there. Let's see if this guy will work for us. Press in and up. There we go. Let's try this again. I think I'm getting a better grip on it by pressing in with the screwdriver and then down with my finger. There we go. That's a lot more effective. We're pressing in and then down. Beautiful. Now we put that brake grease on there because rust builds up in between the hardware and the pads and the hardware of the mounting bracket, swells up and locks your pads in place. I see it all the time. So, yeah, we put the grease on there, especially if you're up north, okay? Pad fits right in there if you cleaned it properly. You're gonna kind of come in from an angle on both ears, get them started at an angle, and then press in and straighten it out, and that pad will fit right in there. Put a little bit of brake grease on the ears of the pad. Keep them from rusting out in the future. Don't get any grease on your friction surface of your pad. And the squealer tab, so this has a squealer tab on it to let you know when your brakes are low. It's going to go on the inside, and it's going to be facing upwards. So get it going at an angle, and boom, straighten it out. We're going to get our caliper back on. Make sure your brake hose isn't twisted. Press in on your slide hardware. Grab your bolts. If they're rusty, wire wheel them off. These ones still have a little Loctite on them. And we'll tighten these bad boys down. They are small bolts. So you don't want to tighten them down to the point you snap them off, but you definitely want to get them nice and tight, all right? If you want to look up your torque specs, be my guest. It's probably a good idea. All right, now that we get the caliper nice and tightened down, what we're gonna do, sometimes you gotta put that wrench on there when you're tightening them. Holding them still, there we go. All right, now we're gonna press our brake pedal so that caliper expands outwards and tightens down on the brakes. Because right now, if you press down on the brakes, you'd have no brakes. So before you start the vehicle, get in and go driving, press down on the brake pedal a good 10 times or so until you feel that brake pedal get tight. Check your brake fluid. Bleed the brakes right here. I believe it's a 10mm bleeder screw right here underneath this little cap. Bleed your brakes out. Check your brake fluid again. Put your tires on. Go take her for a test drive. I believe these pads had a, what do they call that? Varnishing sequence or something. Go 35 miles an hour, do a real slow stop, do that 3 times, and then 1 hard stop to break them in. And make sure you get your torque right on your lug nuts. Besides that, I think we're about boomed. And if your rotors look like this, guys, change your rotors. Catch you on the next one.